Welcome back. We're at the afternoon session, first afternoon session of the Benzinga Cannabis Capital Conference. And as we had spoken earlier, it's the conference that we actually get people here that are looking for investors. People have ideas, a lot of different things going on here. If you haven't been down here before, you need to come down this afternoon or definitely by tomorrow. So today, as meeting just new people, I'm with Seth Ninger. Yes. He's the COO of Portfolio Beverages. Seth, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Seth has a product that is getting a lot of, looks today as the next step for the CBD industry, and that's infusion into everyday drinks that you would use. So before I really screw it up badly, Seth, tell us exactly what Portfolio Beverages does.
Absolutely. Portfolio Beverages started as a manufacturer of healthy beverages, and our first initial desire was to try and lead people down the path toward health and wellness, but do so by replacing some of the disgustingly horrifying, bad-for-you drinks that we consume as Americans on a daily basis.
About everything else that's in the market.
Yeah, exactly. Categories like soft drinks and sweet teas and sports drinks that are, some of them do have some good ingredients, but for the most part are filled with sugars and processed ingredients that are wildly unhealthy, and we set out to fix that. What we ended up with were product lines that in essence encapsulate functional beverages with added vitamins, nutrients, minerals, adaptogens, all speaking to specific health functions that are advertised on those products. But we've also infused cannabinoids into these products and really have kind of brought CBD-infused beverages to what we believe is kind of the next iteration of where the industry is headed.
No, I would agree. I mean, I would say probably 3 or 4 years ago, people kind of shied away from CBD products. But within the last couple of years, it has been proven that the CBD products and the various components of CBD have a very, very positive effect on humans through the cannabinoid system.
Yeah, provided people are getting quality products from quality places.
And that's the other issue, is you have to watch, when you do anything, you have to watch what you put into your body. And you have to make sure that the product you're putting in there, just because it's labeled, doesn't necessarily mean it's the correct product. So tell us a little bit about how you solve that issue by putting quality into your product.
Well, it's interesting. We, 2 of the 4 founders, myself and Greg Cohen, our CEO, came from a health and wellness company that really vetted products properly. We learned in relatively short order toward the beginning of the CBD boom that the FDA was testing 70 plus products a year that they were ordering mail order, and the vast majority of these products were not testing with anything remotely close to what the label claimed the product contained. There were wildly off estimates of products that would say, we have 1,200 milligrams of CBD and there'd be 6 milligrams in there.
Right.
Or, we have
it's still going on today, still going on today.
Yeah, and there's 4.5 grams in there. And, we're THC free and it's riddled with THC. So because we were with this wholesaling outfit that wanted to pride itself on only carrying the best products, we really started early on vetting products from seed to shelf, and we would travel out to crop origination farms and do our own testing, because we know that the labs who these farms rely on weekly are counting on those farms for their bread and butter, so much so that those results can really be manipulated to whatever the farms want them to say. So we started using our own testing facilities. We started tracking products and meeting with extraction companies and walking their facilities and meeting with their CEOs. We started looking at manufacturers and vetting them very closely, and we literally got to a point where we were turning down roughly 91% of all the products that were submitted to us, to our wholesale company to take on. And as a result, we garnered a fairly strong reputation in the market as a trusted source. We didn't have any of our own products, and the ones we were willing to carry were the absolute best in class and the best products that were out there. So when we ventured over that bridge into the manufacturing sector, we really took those lessons with us, and we vet our ingredients and our processes more than any other company I've seen in the manufacture of any product in the space. Mm-hmm. We have proprietary products that literally no other beverage has. Our CBD, for instance, is put through a patented Swiss technology called Vesisorb, which is the same technology that CVS Pharmacies uses for lipid-based ingredients in their in-house pharmaceuticals. There have been over 4 million doses of Vesisorb processed products globally as of a few months ago when they crossed that number. But this is a proven technology that nano-emulsifies the molecules of the CBD so finely that they're not even absorbed when you're ingesting the beverage. They're not absorbed through the intestinal mucosa in the lower digestive tract. They're absorbed actually through the lymphatic system and through the lymph nodes as you're drinking the product. So we spare no expense in the manufacturing. We feel like people are willing to pay a premium price point if they're getting what they're led to believe they're getting. And unfortunately, that seems to be harder and harder in today's marketplace to find.
Now, how is, when you do, there are a lot of states now that watch out for the Delta 8s, the Delta 9s, the Delta 10s, the THCOs, all of those that are skirting the issue of THC, of Delta 9, okay? How does your product stack up to a drink that says, well, it's like 100% Delta 8?
Well, it's interesting. We've been approached numerous times, countless times, and asked if we would manufacture Delta 8 products, and we haven't done so because in the grand scheme of things, our beliefs are so rooted in the benefits of the plant being the way nature intended, that when you're talking about some of these minor cannabinoids, like a Delta 8, for instance, that appears in such a minute amount inside the actual plant, you can't put Delta 8 products on the market without using Delta 8 products that are made from synthesized Delta 8.
Which are not pure, not pure products.
If it's built in a lab, we don't want it. We don't let it in our drinks. We won't even put raw sugar or processed sugar or anything. Like, the only sweetener we use is an amber clove honey. That's the only sweetener you find in any product we have. We believe all natural deserves to be honored.
And that's different. I mean, when you go around to a lot of different shows that are out there, and you see a variety of different products, you have to really watch. And we were talking about this earlier, of what you put into your body.
Yeah.
You want to make sure that the product has been vetted, lab tested, and making sure you get the correct product. Exactly. And it sounds like that's what your company has done for others and now doing for itself.
Correct. And as you know, we meet other beverage companies constantly at trade shows all the time. Some of them have very good flavor profiles, very good tasting product, but we have yet to see another beverage company that has the quantity and quality of functional ingredients we have. And with regard to your original question about how we stack up against Delta 8 beverages, none of our stuff is mind-altering. We're using cannabinoids in a way that the THC is removed. We use a broad-spectrum product, and we do that intentionally. It's not supposed to be a mind-altering experience. It's supposed to be an experience that provides health benefit. And
it's truly exactly what CBD was meant to do at the very beginning, until you had some companies come out and say, well, we can get by this federal regulation by doing this.
Right, we can get people stoned without breaking the law if we do it this way.
Right, and there is, actually there's a place up in North Georgia that I think does that very well. I won't mention the name on there, but it really is. So it's great to see a product that is healthy and uses CBD in the way it was meant to be used.
Yeah, and it's amazing. The sheer fact is, years ago, scientists all believed that the receptors in our brain for dopamine and serotonin were going to be clearly the most vast receptor cells we had in the human body, because that controls our pleasure centers. That controls, that's what spawns addictions. That's what spawns compulsive behaviors. And with the discovery of the endocannabinoid system, the network of cannabinoid receptors, there's over 1,000 different types of receptor cells in the human body, and the number of endocannabinoid receptors in the body far exceeds all other combined all other types of receptor cells combined. And the unique thing is that those are neurotransmitter receptors, which is not common. These cells communicate through electrochemical signaling with the brain. And the common questions of how can CBD be such a benefit to so many people for so many different reasons, my short answer is quite simply it doesn't provide any of those health benefits, but that the human body is a majestic creation that has its own way of aiding in its own recovery and healing itself. And when a system in the body is compromised, really it sends out signaling to the brain calling for help.
Right.
And the endocannabinoid system is the switchboard that carries those signals.
And you're just feeding to the endocannabinoid system through CBD.
You are. You're turning up the volume on that switchboard.
And it's again not getting you high or anything. So when in looking for the product, it's fairly a young product per se.
Yes.
Where would people usually find this product? And specifically, well, you're based in Georgia, but we are in Florida, and my viewership is mainly Florida. Can you find it in Florida yet?
No, but that doesn't mean you can't buy it in Florida yet.
Okay. You mail order?
We do.
Okay.
We do. We've got an order fulfillment warehouse in Savannah, Georgia, that handles our online orders from realgoodtea.com.
Mm-hmm.
And we have both subscription-based ordering and one-off ordering, and we ship it out the same day it comes in, provided we get an order by 2:30 in the afternoon.
Oh.
So it's really, we've gotten quite a fan base in multiple states now that are starting to track with a lot of reorders, and it's a great thing to see.
How would you, pricing on the product, what would you say?
What would I say? I would say we haven't gotten any pushback yet.
Okay.
Our manufacturer's suggested retail price, if you were to buy the product in a convenience store or a health food store, we suggest that they sell it at $6.99 a can.
Okay.
Now, when we look at functional beverages, and that includes anything I see in like the salad section of a public supermarket, would be considered a functional beverage, and they're supposed to have health benefits to some of those drinks, and those things sell for $4 or $5 each, so we're $1 or $2 higher, but they don't incorporate CBD. And when we look at the CBD beverage space, we see the same thing. We see $4 and $5 product offerings, but those aren't including functional beverages. And just given the cost of manufacturing with quality ingredients in today's market, it's really a premium product at a premium price point, but we don't receive any pushback on it.
Well, I would tell you that premium CBD, okay, not what I would call 7-Eleven CBD,
right.
Okay. Premium CBD is an expensive product because of the purity of it. You know, you can go into, and we were discussing earlier, you can go into and buy a bottle of CBD that's supposed to have 1,500 milligrams. First of all, you never find a QR code on it.
Yeah.
Okay, and you may pay $25 for it, and you're getting $25 worth of water versus anything else. Versus a good quality CBD product, an infused product too, you know you're getting the quality in there because it's been tested out.
Yeah,
and that's the difference.
It's interesting because we've released the product less than a year ago. It's shelf stable because it's pasteurized, but at the same time we don't have any artificial preservatives or anything like that in there. So we not only test the product for purity and CBD content, we test the product monthly based on product that we set aside from our first production run, so that we can adequately and accurately tell retailers what our shelf life is. Because in CBD-infused beverages, there's going to be oxidation. Any oxygen that's in the container is going to degrade the CBD over time. Any containers that let sunlight through, the sunlight's going to degrade the CBD over time. And we really wanted and needed to find out. So it's been 10 months since our first production run, and our products from that first run are still testing at the same milligrams and same levels as they did when it was 2 days off the line. So we know at this point that our shelf stability and our shelf life is at a minimum 10 months. But I ran into a company at a show in Orlando, this was about 3 months ago, and I said, "What's your shelf life look like?" And he goes, "Oh, it's about 2 years." And I said, "I didn't think you guys had been around that long." He said, "Well, we haven't. We only started 6 months ago." I said, "Then
how can it be 2 years?"
Forgive me for asking, but how can that be 2 year shelf life if you only started manufacturing it 6 months ago? He said, "Well, that's the shelf life, or that's the lowest shelf life of any of the ingredients we use." And I said, I get that argument, but you need to understand that chemistry and chemical reactions and the way ingredients interact with one another all affect shelf stability and shelf life. And if you're not testing it monthly from the first product run you've ever done,
you really don't know.
You're never going to be able to honestly answer that question. And he was flabbergasted. He said he never thought about it that way.
Well, a lot of, it's interesting. A lot of this stuff at this point, because of not FDA approval and everything else, people can get away with guesses. And unfortunately, you don't mind a guess on something that you're not putting in your body.
Exactly.
But for something that I'm going to put into my body, I guess I want the guesswork out of it. You want to make sure that it has validity to it and it's being watched by the manufacturer.
And I think of it almost from an industry level. How many people out there in the marketplace have tried CBD or believe they've tried CBD and have gotten a nonsensical trash product and think that CBD just doesn't work for them when it may be incredibly effective for them if they had the right product?
Absolutely. You know how many times I hear that story? Buy quality and you'll feel the effects.
Yeah.
Well, how would people get this? Tell us where they need to go to be able to get your product, mail order, and otherwise, in the state of Florida, for instance.
Well, right now we are about 6 weeks away from shipping our first product to Florida, and we believe that will be with a distributor in the Tampa area.
Okay.
So that is a
nice.
We're not going to jump the gun and name any retailers as of yet.
Absolutely, right.
In our home market in Atlanta, where we just launched several months ago, we are all over the place in terms of the health food sector, vitamin shops, golf courses, yoga studios, chiropractors' offices, IV infusion therapy centers, anywhere where health and wellness centered mindset, having people congregate, seems to be going over very well for us. From a mail order standpoint, for people to get the product, go visit realgoodtea.com, and you can read about all the different functional ingredients in each of the blends and what those ingredients are intended to do, and try it out. We were out of stock for a minute on the sampler pack, and we should have that back in stock, if not yesterday, then at least by this time next week.
My guess, that's a good thing.
Yes.
It's not a bad thing. It's a good thing.
It is. It is. We've seen waves come about which products or which blends people favor, and it's interesting. The time change, daylight savings time, kind of shifted that demographic a little, but we're still just gathering all of our first year data and sales history, and so far there's no real clear front runner in terms of one favored blend over the others, which is our preference. Obviously, we built it so that it could be taken or enjoyed as a regimen, so it could start in the morning with a tea that would help you wake up. It could morph into in the lunchtime hour with an immune boosting blend, and then That's where the caffeinated teas stop, and then the 2 afternoon and evening blend are decaffeinated, and those are really kind of an immune system boost. I'm sorry, that's the caffeinated one in second position. But we go to a de-stress blend in the afternoon, and then of course the nighttime blend, which won't put somebody to sleep, but if you drink it before you go to sleep, it will absolutely ensure a very good night's sleep and help you sleep through the night and get restful, beneficial sleep.
Well, Seth, I appreciate you stopping by. We do have a can here of the Stay Well, and I'm going to be trying that a little bit later on and maybe talking to you guys about it tomorrow. And anyway, thanks for tuning into this segment, and we'll be back shortly with some more interviews.
Charles, thank you so much.
Thank you, Seth. Appreciate it.